The Wizards win tonight 106-102 against the Charlotte Hornets at home at the end of a homestand, led by 28 points from Kyle Kuzma and 26 points from Bradley Beal with a dub. My bad. With the dub tonight. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Brandon Scott, again, with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. So, E, going forward, if need be, how comfortable are you with Bradley Beal holding down the point guard position going forward?
It's not ideal. I do like him off ball, getting set up with easier shots, just coming off screens and pin downs. That's the Bradley Beal I like the most. But a lot of guys brought the ball up today, without Monte being there, without, DeLon Wright being out for the past couple of weeks. Other guys have had to step up and bring the ball up. Kuz was bringing the ball up. Denny was bringing the ball up. Bill was bringing the ball up. So it's a point guard by committee approach, and they did move the ball really, really well to start off. There's a good amount of assists. We knocked down some threes, hockey assists. They, passed it around the horn. There was one time where Porzingis missed the dunk, and they just kept passing it around the three-point line, and it led to a Bradley Beal three. So with this team, even when Monte comes back, we're still looking for a point guard, to be honest with you. We're still looking for a floor general out there, and other guys have just had to step up and take over that role to get into the paint and get open shots for other guys. Now, Bradley Beal, what comes with his assists or comes with good plays, or, sometimes it's just going to come with turnovers. And yes, he did have some unforced errors. Of course, he made some great plays. I thought he, had a couple steals. He made a steal, made a really nice pass, of course, to Denny on a fast break, where Denny did a lot better finishing around the rim tonight. But Brad, had 5 assists, but he had 5 turnovers as well. So that's just the double-edged sword you get with it. Kyle Kuzma, he had to play point guard role at sometimes tonight. He had 5 assists, but had 4 turnovers. So that's just the thing with guys that are natural point guards. And you look at Monte Morris, his assist to turnover ratio is so high, but at the same time, you look at him, the reason why it's so high is because he's not even, he's not even getting to the basket, or sometimes not even trying to put pressure on the rim or pressure on the defense. So, but we've seen point build before. We've seen it work and we've seen it not work. So, like I said, there's a double-edged sword to it. But tonight, yes, I think the point guard by committee approach did work against the Hornets. They are a lottery team. They're 4-14. I'm not going to take anything away from this win. A win is a win is a win. So we'll definitely take the dub. But you can't ignore that, LaMelo Ball was out. Of course, we had guys out, Monte Morris out, Rui out. But you can't ignore that, LaMelo Ball didn't play tonight. But like I said, I think this is where you got to take care of business. And the Wizards did finish this game, knocking down some clutch free throws. Porzingis hit some clutch free throws. Kisper hit some clutch free throws down the stretch. So the Wizards did take advantage of this, and they have, this home game stretch. They won 5 of the last 6 games.
As far as Bill being at the point guard position, if need be, I really like this lineup tonight. The ball movement was fluid. Bradley Beal, like you said, when he steps into the role of scorer and shooter, which he did tonight, it looked good. That's that Bradley Beal that, people saw earning that Supermax, that score, that NBA score. That's what he is. When he steps into that role of being a scorer, not so much as being a playmaker, he's in his own. Yeah, it's going to be interesting going forward with his point guard position. Jordan Goodwin is, the energy tonight. He contributed 5 points, but 3 blocks. His energy, his attitude on the court is infectious, man. He's been that linchpin on the second unit. Really, the team overall. His attitude showed. If you saw that play where McDaniels tried to get a little salty with KP, I don't know if he knew what he was getting himself into, but he stepped in. I love the energy from Goodwin. But looking at DeLon Wright, how long is it going to take for him to acclimate being back from injury? Monte, we know what he can do and what he can't do. So, barring a major trade, what do you do with the point guard position? Do you play Bill, knowing that he does have shortcomings, when he tries to dribble too much? And it showed tonight. There was a couple of turnovers before halftime. And even with the interview at halftime, he said, look, I got to do better personally. I think it was right before the half. A turnover went out of bounds. He was trying to dribble too much. So it's a big question right now with the Wizards. What do you do long term? Well, not really long term, but for the season at the point guard position. Do you give it back to Monte come back? So that's an important question. But looking at the starting lineup, wow. I mean, again, the starting lineup showed the play. They played well. Bradley built 26 points, 5 steals. You look at Kuz. Kuz was on fire, brother. I mean, Kuz was rocking at night. Kuz is just, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, almost had a triple dub. Denny was revitalized. His energy was. We haven't seen him play with his energy in a while. His vision. He had a couple nice assists. Finishing the lane, shooting jump. He looked good tonight. 12 points, 13 rebounds. Tells you all you didn't know. He's getting there. He's getting these boards. And Kispert, that shot is just. He came in this thing shooting well. He's shooting well. So we'll talk about the second unit, but as right now, this first unit has been fire so far these last couple games. So I like what I see overall from the starting unit. What about you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I thought they played well. Even, Taj Gibson came in and gave some good minutes to start off the fourth quarter where Kuz just dominated. He took over. He had a nice run, 28 points, like you said, 4 for 8 from the 3-point line, 10 for 18 from the field, 5 assists. There were times where he got downhill. He was just dominating. And there's a stat that the Wizards are 8-0 when Kyle Kuzma scores 20-plus points or more. And they're 2-7 when he does not. So it looks like that's the formula to winning. So he was huge, getting to the basket, post-ups, getting downhill, that bank shot, that floater shot that he loves to do. Bill stepped up tonight too, man. I thought he had some big plays. I thought he had some deflections. He had 5 steals. He did win the defensive player of the game belt. And he had, like I said, he had that pass to Denny on a fast break, so he was able to facilitate. He was getting to the basket. There was one nice pass from Porzingis where it was a backdoor cut, and he dunked on, I think it was either P.J. Washington or McDaniels or Rozier. So he stepped up tonight, 3 for 8, and he's shooting a lot better from the 3-point line. He struggled last year. It was one of his worst years from the 3-point line. He shot a lot better. Porzingis, he struggled tonight. We'll probably talk about him a little bit later. But yes, we didn't get much from the bench. But Jordan Goodwin, he made some key steals. He made some big plays, diving on the floor. Had a couple blocks tonight. He had 3 blocks tonight. That stood out to me. So you really could have debated on whether he was the defensive player of the game. He didn't have any steals tonight, but he did dive on the floor. He was just being a pest, yelling in people's faces, just giving us energy out there. 5 points, one for one for the 3-point line. So I did think they had some mental lapses out there. Getting back on transition defense has been a problem this year. I thought they gave us some, the Kai Jones fast break where he had a reverse dunk. P.J. Washington had a couple layups of transition. Kelly Oubre got out in transition as well. The Hornets, they like to run. They like to push the pace. Terry Rozier and Dennis Smith Jr., they're small, scrappy guards that are looking to push and run. But I thought Denny did a good job guarding Terry Rozier tonight. Terry Rozier, he struggled 3 for 14 from the field, 0 for 6 from the 3. And Terry Rozier, he's a Wizards killer, man. He's every time we play Rozier, man, he goes up for at least 25 to 30 points, and the Wizards did a good job on him. And I think Denny did a good job guarding him tonight.
Did an excellent job. Shut him down. Because like you said, Rozier always cooks us. So Denny, he showed out. He responded. His energy tonight was just, you saw a lot more energy from tonight. You saw the Denny of old with his passing and his effort and, 13 rebounds. That's a good night for him. I was very impressed with the starting unit. Now, KP did have a kind of a, cold night. But, with this team, it allows people to kind of have those off nights. You know what I mean? Like, Kuz stepped it up. Bill stepped it up. So I'm not too concerned. Now, I will say this about KP. He tends to kind of rely on that jumper too much. Usually he's quick to kind of let that thing go. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to see him kind of orchestrate the offense a little bit. Don't rely on the jumper too much, But that's really the only negative about KP. Like I said, I'm not concerned. It was a cold night, but we still got the dub. Now, getting into this bench, this is where it gets interesting. Barton continues to struggle. Barton, his shots just not dropping. You don't see the same energy out of him. Goodwin, again, I'm not too concerned about Goodwin because he shows out in other areas. His energy alone is a big asset for this team, especially dealing with the injuries. So Gafford, we got to talk about Gaff. 4 points, 7 minutes playing. Again and again, you're seeing him playing not even 10 minutes. So it looks like he's falling out of his rotation. And we've been talking about it, on and on. Especially with the hot stove cooking right now with names, we were, talking about before the show. We'll talk about towards the end of the show, but Jae Crowder being available. There's names are starting to emerge being available, and there's you see the Wizards connected to a lot of them. So what's the future with Gaff and DC? Who's going to be that backup center? That's because we said it before, paying him that extension and then you're playing him 7 minutes. It doesn't add up for me. So
Right.
that's a question going into the deadline. But before we move on to the hot stove talk, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Unfortunately, life doesn't come with a user manual. So when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. Navigating any of life's challenges can make you feel unsure, whether it's a career change, a new relationship, or becoming a parent. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called you. BetterHelp has connected over 3 million people with licensed therapists. It's convenient and accessible 100% online. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable. Just fill out the brief questionnaire to match with the therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It couldn't be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, don't have to deal with the weather, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out the Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. So again, hot stove is starting to cook. And one name that was thrown out there, and we actually talked about this before the season started, was Jae Crowder. And one of the 2 things on our checklist for this team was solidifying that point guard position and finding another 3. Well, I say another because I think with Denny's shot going down, he can develop maybe into a 3-and-D, but finding a true 3-and-D. So would you make that trade? Would you try to get Jae Crowder and bring him to DC?
Yeah, I like Jae Crowder. I love his intensity. I love the way he plays with energy and heart and toughness. He gave the Wizards problems with the Celtics. He's given the Wizards problems for years, and he's always in the playoffs. He finds his way in the playoffs every year with the Suns, the Celtics, the Mavs. Every year he is in the playoffs. He's a guy that wears his emotions on the sleeve. He can shoot the 3 ball and he can defend. Now he's getting older, so of course he's not moving as quicker as he used to. But it just depends on what the Wizards have to give up. I know the Suns they want Kuzma. That was per Shams Charania, and then the report that we're interested in bringing in Jae Crowder is from Sam Amico. So I do like Jae Crowder. I feel like if we could, we talked about Will Barton. He's just not. Right, he's just not fitting in the rotation right now. He's not hitting his shots. Tonight he had 3 points. He was 1 for 6, 1 for 2 from the field, 21 minutes. 2 assists, 2 blocks, no turnovers. Was a -1, but he just, he's playing that 6-man role, but he's stopping the ball, he's taking tough shots, and that's just his game. His game is taking tough shots, a lot of tough shots, a lot of contested shots. That's where he thrives at. And right now he's not knocking those shots down. And he's just not playing well. Right now he's kind of in a funk or a slump. Last game he only played 5 minutes, same thing with Gafford. So he would be very expendable, and he's on an expiring deal. So that's the one guy I would look to move before the deadline. Will Barton, I would look to possibly, Monte Morris. We'll see how it works out with him as well. Gafford is somebody as well. Jae Crowder right now, he's making $9.5 million. So of course you got to make salaries match. Will Barton's making about $13.5 million. So of course the Suns would have to add something to the deal to make it work. But yeah, I like Jae Crowder, man. I think he could come in and help out because we need 3-point shooting. We're actually shooting the ball better from 3. We shot really well from the 3-point line tonight. We shot 38% from the 3 in the last couple of games. The 4-game winning streak, we shot the ball well when Bill came back. We're still shooting the ball well with Bill coming back as well. But I think he could definitely help because we don't have a natural 3. We have a lot of 4s. Rui's a 4. Kuz is a 4. Denny can play the 3 or the 4. So we have a lot of 4s. We just don't have a natural 3. Barton's a 2, Bill's a 2. We got a couple point guards, but none of them really stand out from each other. So I think Jake can help. I mean, he's older, but he's a winner. He's a winner, and he can shoot the 3, and he brings some toughness and tenacity. We need an identity, and he's a guy that's not scared to come in and get a tech, push somebody around, fight somebody around. I know he can tweet a lot in all caps, kind of like Montrezl Harrell a little bit like last year. But I do think Jae Crowder is a mean guy. We do need some toughness on this team. I do think we're a little finesse. I think this team has a lot of nice guys, which is cool and dandy, but you do need some of that, a mean guy and a force, and I think Jae Crowder definitely would bring that as well.
Too many Boy Scouts. We need soldiers. You know what I'm saying? We need some soldiers, man. I completely agree. I think Jae Crowder, if you look at his past, look, that Boston Celtics team, he was on that team, that prevented us going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So we know what he can do. Every stop he's made, he's brought that veteran presence, that defense, the in-your-face attitude, the three-point shot. So I think he would solidify that three position. I'd like to see him on the wing. Now, are you willing to take Denny out of the start lineup? I think Denny would. He can do well whether he's starting or on the bench. I think he's very versatile. So I think Denny would be okay. But I think the important question to ask before any moves are made this season or you going into the offseason is this: what truly is the identity of the Washington Wizards? What is the goal here? If they're trying to win, if they're trying to go to the playoffs, then that really who are you going to move? If you're trying, it just depends. If they're trying to develop these guys, then the playoffs might not be the goal. They got to figure out what they're trying to do, because if you're trying to start bringing in guys to kind of surround Bill, Kuz, and KP, then you're going to have to move some of these young guys. Now, Corey has been playing well. Rui's playing well. I know he didn't play tonight, but he's playing well. Denny's taking a step up. Johnny, what do you expect out of Johnny? Like you said tonight, that again, the confidence. He's played well at Capital City Go-Go, so maybe he needs to sit a year. Maybe, like you said, previous episodes, maybe it's a riskier year. Set him. Why bring him back up? He's clearly not ready. He's just not ready. So let him sit and let him play with the Capital City Go-Go. Let him get that confidence up, and then next season we can take a look in training camp. But as of right now, he's way off. But I would love to see Jae Crowder. But like I said, it's tough to really look at potential moves because you don't know what this team is really trying to do. Because for you to go in the playoffs, you need veteran presence. You can't have this half and half. Young guys and vets. You need guys who know how to play in that playoff atmosphere, and that's Jae Crowder.
Yeah, well, we know that the direction of the team, Ted Leonson said he'll never ever tank. So they're trying to make the playoffs every year, either play-in, playoffs, whatever it is. They want those 2 home playoff games to make a profit. So that's what they're trying to do. And it makes sense that they're connected to him because they don't have a natural 3. They just don't have a natural wing. Because obviously you got Bill starting at the 2, and Zingas at the 5, Kuz at the 4, and then Monte Morris, Goodwin, DeLon Wright playing at the 1, but you just don't have a natural 3. I mean, Kiss, you got Denny playing at the 3, but he's getting better shooting the 3 ball too. But Jae Crowder, I think he would definitely fit, next to Bill and Zingas and help out with that spacing, so Bill can operate and Zingas can operate and Kuz can operate. They can just get open shots and give it and pass it to Jae Crowder in the corner. He can knock down 3s. Now it just depends on what you give up. Of course, it does remind me of us trading for Trevor Ariza, just like Ernie Grunfeld did in the past twice. So it does remind me of that a little bit. So that's why I'm a little iffy on the trade. But if you're able to give up Barton, who I think Crowder just fits better, because what Barton what he wants to do, he wants to ISO it out and get his baskets. And I think right now with the ball movement that we have going, not saying that Will doesn't move the ball, but I just think the ball movement, Jae Crowder's going to move the ball because Jae Crowder's not looking to dribble. He's looking strictly to just play defense and shoot 3s. And I think that's what would fit at the 3 spot. Denny coming off the bench, I think he would be fine coming off the bench. He came off the bench last year, and I thought he was solid at points. Him bringing up the ball, I think we have more opportunities to play that point forward position coming off the bench too, and get more shots coming off the bench as well. So I think it will work out for him. But I think he's starting to play a lot better too. Johnny Davis, you brought up Johnny. You got to shoot the ball, man. He just didn't look confident out there. And the one time he had another 3, pump fake, then dribbled to the basket and shot it over the rim. So that's my thoughts on that. But we're gonna get a quick word in from Prize Picks, and then we're gonna get to 3 comments, and then wrap it up tonight. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Used it today for the Commanders game. I got it wrong on both ends. Heineke threw under 211 yards, so I didn't get that right. And then I think I got the Antonio Gibson running. He ran over 60 yards, so I got that correct. But it's super, super easy. You just pick 2 to 5 players. Now it's 2 to 6 players. And if they will go score more or less than their prize picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. This includes NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, even cricket and Eurobasket and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks apps or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. All right, so did you have any more that you want to say on Jae Crowder before we get to comments or anything about the game?
No, I think we hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jae Crowder would be a good move, but it's just I'm gonna hit this point one more time. It's tough to really kind of pinpoint what target guys we can look at because you just don't know, one, what's the direction, and two, who are they willing to get rid of? You know, are they willing to get rid of some of these young guys? And with these young guys playing well, that kind of helps you if you want to move them because you kind of showcasing them, especially Kispert. You know, Kispert, at the 3 out of the 4, their trade value is rising. You know, so you know if Jenny's able to really find his shot, you know, you're going to see some great value out of these young guys. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, best player of the game, I would go with Kuz tonight. Denny, I thought he played well tonight. 12 points, 13 boards. He had a 4-point play where he missed the free throw, cut the ball back, and then put it up.
Yeah.
Then he had an and one, finished really well around the rim. I was very excited about that because he struggles to finish layups. And he did a really good job of that. And he had a dunk as well, where he went down the right side and dunked it. I was very happy about that as well. Kispert, he's just moving well without the ball. 2 for 3 from the 3-point line, 14.6 boards. Kuzma, double-double, 28 and 10. 2 guys with double-doubles. Porzingis, he's just got to stop settling. You know, you're 7'3", go to the basket. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can guard you. And right now, he's just settling. He went 4 for 19, man. You're too tall to go 4 for 19 from the field. You know, he shot 8 threes. 19 of his shots were eight threes. And he's just a mismatch. He needs to at least get into the high post and get into the paint. Gibson, 2 points. Thought he came in and gave some good minutes. Gafford, once again, just 8 minutes tonight. He's just out of the rotation. Jordan Goodwin gave good minutes. And who was your defensive player of the game? Player of the game.
Player of the game. I'm rolling with Kuz. Kuz is on fire tonight. Kuz is shooting at a high level. Defensive player of the game. I actually switched it just now. So bear with me. It was Bill. I was going to say Bill, but I got to give it a good one. When you're guard and you're getting 3 blocks, his energy is just infectious. He's just on the defensive end. Other than DeLon and Denny, he's probably been the most consistent defensive guy on his team.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I agree with you too. I think Bill, he definitely has some timely steals and deflections. So I understand why he got it too, but I was thinking Jordan Goodwin as well. Player of the game definitely was Kuz. I think Kuz took over in that fourth quarter where we went on an 11-2 run. It was close. Like the Hornets were battling back.
Yeah.
Plumlee was getting some baskets. Kelly Oubre dunked on Denny pretty hard. They were getting some transition baskets. The Hornets definitely battled back. Gordon Hayward too. He made some baskets as well. He had a couple threes tonight too. So the Hornets, they play hard. Their roster is, they're a lottery projected team, but they do play hard. They have some talent on the roster. But this is the game the Wizards definitely should have ran off with. So
let me ask you this, man. Like, what's going on with Plumlee's jumper?
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. That form is just
what
ridiculous.
is going on with that, man?
It's so ugly. It's almost like a Harlem Globetrotters just shot where he's shooting it with one arm, one hand, and no guide hand. Really, I got to look at it again, but it's really bad. He actually made his free throws tonight too. That's the funny thing about it. He was 5 for 8. That's good for him because he's an awful free throw shooter.
God, that shot is horrendous, man. What's that guy that played for the Bobcats? Gilchrist. Remember his jumper?
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's a guy named Chuck Hayes who played for the Rockets too. One of his free throw form was one of the worst forms.
Yeah, I remember him.
I've ever seen in my life. But all right, we're gonna read probably 3 to 5 comments and we'll wrap it up tonight. Elizabeth Hayden says thanks for the podcast in advance. KP took too many mid-range shots and they didn't go in tonight. I hope it wasn't because of Mason Plumlee. Yeah, we just talked about that. He settled.
Yeah.
It wasn't just this game; it was the Miami game too, where he was short and flat on a lot of his shots, and I don't know why he's shying away. I don't know why he's not going to the basket. I think in the beginning of the year or the first couple of games, I mean, it's still early in the season, but yeah, I just don't know why he's not attacking the basket more. I don't have an answer for it. He's the one that has to answer.
Oh, I'm with you. He's got to be more aggressive, dude. You're 7'3". What are we doing? Like he's got the ability to make his own shot. So I don't know why he's hesitant. He relies way too much on 3-point shots. Way too much.
Right. Yeah, he did on a positive note. Perfect finding said 13 overall blocks. Beautiful. I do got to give Porzingis his credit. He did have 5 blocks, so he did make an impact in the game. Somehow, Kisper was a plus 19 tonight. Kuzma was a plus 7. The whole starting 5 was a plus. Denny was a plus 7. Bill was a plus 4. The bench was in the negatives for the most. Yeah, everybody on the bench was in the negatives except for Taj with a plus 2. Perfect findings. We talked about Johnny already. She says, or she or he. Perfect findings says Davis is clearly not ready. What do you guys think about the rotations? Let's see here if there's any more. Is there any other comments that you see, Brandon, that stood out to you?
Oh yeah, I got a good one. XD Zay Thofin. Sorry if I butchered that, man. What would it say on it? It was Bill and Gafford for, I believe, Barrett, Fournier, and Mitchell Robinson. What do you think? Man, that's no. No, sir. No,
he always sends in some crazy trades, some crazy trade scenarios. He always does that. He's a good guy though.
Nah, not for Bill. Now I can see Gaff being packaged, but I like RJ Barrett. Fournier is a good guy who can defend and shoot, and Mitchell Robinson, you know, he's the traditional big just like Gaff, but I wouldn't do it. Not for Bill. You need more for Bill.
Yeah. Maybe a first round pick, you throw that in there. But I mean, you know, RJ Barrett's a good player. Mitch Robinson's a good player. I do like Fournier. He's just overpaid. I mean, you can say the same thing about Bradley Beal too. So, but yeah, I just wouldn't do that deal. Peter Van Dixon Horn. Dix Horn says, "Good day for DC Sports. Need the Caps to come through. Imagine 3 out of the 4 of the big DC Sports team makes the playoffs." Yeah, Maryland had a big win today too. The Terps won. They're undefeated. They won the championship, whatever tournament they're in. The Terps won. The Commanders won. Of course, they took care of business, and the Wizards took care of business. So yes, a good day for DC Sports. Claudio also says, "Guys looking good passing the ball. I just need to work with the players to locate the hot hand and not take the shot." Pretty cool as Porzingis did today and Kuz did last game. They did move the ball pretty well. They did move the ball well. I like the ball movement tonight for sure.
Oh, and talking about DC Sports, let me do a shout out for the Georgetown Hoyas. They got to win tonight or win today too. So, hey,
they did.
Yes, sir. So
they did. Who do they play?
It was American, I believe.
Georgetown played American.
Yeah, American University.
Was it St. Louis? I saw St. Louis, but we'll look it up. But yeah, other team stats too. They shot 13 for 18 from the free throw line, 38% from the 3, which is good.
Yeah.
19 assists tonight, which is solid. 13 blocks. Like perfect findings pointed out, 17 turnovers. They just got to clean up the turnovers for tonight. And then last comment that I do see, somebody talked about the people being out when we play them. It was a comment where we played a lot of teams with injuries or teams are resting their players against us. That I think some of that has been the case, but you got to take advantage of these wins, and they have taken advantage of it. You know, do I think they should have blown this team out tonight? Yes, I do. Do I think they should have blown the Heat out last night or whenever they played them? Of course, but they get to the schedule coming up is going to be tough. They go on the road. They play the Heat in Miami back to back on Wednesday and Friday night. We play at Miami, then we play at Boston, then we play the Timberwolves. So we'll see who's available, but you got to beat the teams that are in front of you. And right now, the Wizards are 6th in the Eastern Conference. They're 10-7 right now.
I think these next 2 games in Miami are going to be measuring stick games.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're winnable games. I think we got to take care of business. But no, tonight was a great team win. Great. I mean, the ball movement was fluid. Very impressed. Now, like you touched earlier, you got to blow these teams out, especially Miami. This team. Now, I'm one of those people who I'm not a big fan of them, you know, teams resting guys. I think that if fans pay good money to go see somebody, they don't want to see them sitting on the bench. So I never
Right.
agree with people resting players. I hate that. But like you said, you got to take advantage of that. I don't care who they put out there. You got to get that win. So, 2 in a row. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it rolling.
Yep. All right. So we're going to wrap it up tonight. We just want to thank you guys for listening and making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now for your second, Georgetown, they beat LaSalle today. They beat LaSalle today, 69-62. So we'll take the win with Georgetown as well, wherever we can get it. I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now for your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. And for the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. Also, leave a review on iTunes whenever you can, a 5-star review. We appreciate you guys for listening. Once again, we got the dub. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.